Okay, let's try this again. For some reason, I'm having recording difficulties today. So we are going to first, so this can be with any item. So this is a negative volume where you take one item and then you subtract another item from that and you print it straight from there. Now you can do this in Blender if you want a final STL which has it permanently subtracted. Blender is the way to go, but Blender takes a little bit of a learning curve and there are not very many good videos, and Blender is made for animators. It is not made for 3D printing, and I'm very anti-fusion, and I feel like, and a lot of people would say, oh, Tinkercad, but I feel like I can do as much. I tried Tinkercad, like I can do this on Prusa Slicer. So here on Prusa Slicer, so shape gallery, and let's do a sphere. Okay, we're gonna add to bed, we're gonna control, or we're gonna copy, and we're gonna paste, and let's make one bigger than the other so that you can see, see in better detail. Typically, I don't do any rotation on the, just so you know, no rotation on the left. Don't recommend it because it's not exact values. When you rotate, you'll notice that it's like 160.6153, and that's the reason why it causes problems later, So let's scale it there. It's just easier to do it on the left, so I do it on the left, but it's better if you do it on the right table manipulation. Okay, so we're going to merge it. So first, whenever you do like positions, always on that right table. So let's take our values and put them to the right. Well, maybe not. So let's just make our X 90 and 90. Once you merge it, then you'll want your values on the X and Y to be 0 because they're in one item. You're zeroing them out, okay? So now you're going to want to control A because you don't have other extra items on the bed, but later on if you wanted to just do particular ones, you would do control and then click the items you want, okay? Now that they're merged, okay, you'll find the smaller one. Okay, you'll find the smaller one and you'll see that negative Z. You'll want to make that one 0 as well. Now to make the negative volume, because right now it's just one solid ball, so you will click and you'll see right now you don't see anything. You don't see that green selection, so you will right click, change type, and you will negative volume that. And now, okay, you will see that if you were to slice that, you would have a negative volume, okay? And you would have a hollow ball on the inside. And that's what a lot of people want right there, that negative volume. Okay, so let's say you wanted to make a mold, okay? And you wanted to make a soap mold, a ball soap mold, okay? And this doesn't have to be a circle outside. This could have been a square, okay? So this could have been like a box, okay? You know what? Let's make this a box. Okay, so let's replace with STL. Cancel. Okay, so let's add. Okay, let's go back to shape gallery. Let us make a box. Add to bed. I just feel like it's gonna show better if I do it this way, okay? So let's. Okay. So let's take this, let's merge them all together. Why? Because I just feel like it's easier to do it this way at the moment. So I'm going to delete this regular sphere. We're going to go to the right, and then right here. So first let's take this box. Since we're making it a soap mold, supposed soap mold, it can be whatever you want to be. It doesn't have to be soap mold. So on the right hand, under merge, go to the box and zero out all of these, okay? 0, 0, 0, okay? And under sphere, 0, okay? So when you slice now, you'll notice that that box is empty on the inside, okay? Lots empty on the inside. Okay, so now let's cut it because we're going to make a mold. We want a way to put our soap in after the whole lye process, which I do make my own soap. Cut it. Now, sometimes it's easier after you cut it to just fix one model and then copy and paste, or copy it, paste it, and then mirror it. That works really well. So let's just do that, make our life easier. Then you don't have to mirror it on two planes, okay? So here we go. Now, if you wanted to be able to screw them together, okay, what you would do is you're going to need to add a way to make that hole for screw. So let's take it, we're going to Shape Gallery, let's add an M3, okay? And normally if you wanted to make it a perfect fit, what you would normally do is you could cut it and then match it and then merge it, and then you could make it a long screw if you wanted to, but this is a negative volume. We don't, you know, let's make our life easier. Let's just make it longer, okay? And a lot of people don't have very long M3 screws, and without having to wait on Amazon forever, let's just make it long enough so that when you do, you know, get that screw, you can get it in a little bit, you know, you can get it most of the way there. Just keep in mind, if you do it that way, you might want to add a torus and then change the infill of the torus with a modifier. Here, before I do that, let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? Because otherwise, if this is only 10%, there's not going to be much for that screw to grab onto. So let's add preview shape gallery. So this ring key right here is a torus that I just cut 1/3 off the top and the bottom. I'm going to add that to bed. I'm going to take that, we're going to scale it down, okay? Because then what you're going to want to do later is you're going to just want to change the infill of this. I mean, I'm sure if you want to, you could just like grab a washer. Okay, so you're going to want to take off the scale factor lock and the size lock, and then you're going to want to make your Z much longer. Let's make it, I mean, you can also scale it. So let's, okay, and also since you're making a negative volume, you don't have to be perfect on the sizing. So, because that's going to be subtracted, okay? So, now let's merge these two items together. So control click, you don't want to control A everything right yet. Okay, so now let's bring everything up. Okay. Now, what you'll do is you take the M3 screw, you'll do the ring key. I call it a ring key because I make some ring keys sometimes for myself, and like name tags for like luggages for myself. So I take that, I cut it off, and blah 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 blah. So let's do change type. We're going to make that we're going to make this part a modifier, okay? And then on the right, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go infill. You're going to want to make that however much you want. Make 100%, okay? So that'll be 100% density. That way you don't have to make your whole item at 100% density, and you're going to save a lot of filament, but this will be a lot stronger, okay? But if you just tried to do that, it might not have anything to grip onto, and then you would have a problem, okay? So, oops, Control Z. So grab your merged. We are going to move it to where you want it. So move the first one. Okay, now you're going to copy. Let's copy, let's paste, okay? And then find where this one is, okay? So first, okay, actually, first let's merge one of the screws to the object, and we're going to merge it, okay? Now, what you'll want to do is you're going to find where that screw in the ring is. Let me delete and let's start it from here, okay? Because the values will be wonky if you don't do it that way, okay? So find your M3 screw and your ring key, okay? And what you want to do is you want to copy them, and you want to paste, and you want to move them up, okay? Alright, then you can click the other ones. I know. It's always unsupported. Okay, then just click the ones you want again, and then we're going to move them to the left. And then of course I didn't copy it when I wanted it to copy, paste, move them to the right. And then what I recommend you do, and not everyone's going to do it, but I recommend, so make life easy and go like -14 and just pick a solid number. So 14, -14, then go to the next one. It should all be by 14s. Okay? And then, so this one will be 14. And then that way you're going to have perfect, it should line up perfectly. Okay? Okay, and then you'll need to also do the ring keys, and it should same exact thing, and you'll notice that everything is fitting and everything should be like really symmetrical at this point because you're doing it by the number pad and you're not trying to get it by eye. And if you want like the perfect fit, like this is the way to do it. Okay. Sorry, it just takes a lot longer. Okay, so now you'll have an item where, so slice now. Okay, so remember what you have to do is, before you do that, you have to take these ring keys and then you have to change type to negative volume. And you have to do it for all of them. If that's what you want, of course. Okay. Ring key, change type to negative volume, ring key, change type to, okay, now if you slice it, did it not change? Oh, I changed the wrong one, I'm tired. So the ring keys are supposed to still be modifiers, so I'm just going to Control Z that, and people make mistakes, I make mistakes. So you want, sorry, you want your M3 screws to be negative volumes. I'm so sorry. Okay, so change type to negative volume for the M3 screws. Sorry. Okay, so you'll notice that this will make a bigger difference. And a lot of times whatever you see it looks like in the slicer is a pretty good indicator of what it's going to look like when it comes out. Okay, so you'll notice like right there, you know, there's a catch for it right there at the bottom, so it will get caught, it won't go all the way through, you know, and then let's see what it looks like when you slice it. So if you notice right there, there is structural support so that as you screw it, your screws will have the structural support it needs to, and you could, you know, have a mold and kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be soap, it could be like powder. You want to make like bath bomb. Okay, the guys in this are like, oh god, why am I listening to this? I mean, it could be like if you wanted to do, some people do metal, they take their 3D prints and they make like, you know, metal parts, you know, could be metal medallions, you know, coins, you know, you could put sand in here and then you could put like a metal coin, you know, let's see, you know, sometimes men will do bullets, pellets, shark tooth, whatever you want, and you could fill it with sand and then you could put whatever you want inside, you know, and you can make that into a box instead. It doesn't need to be circle on the inside, and then you could screw it together tight. I mean, I've never done metal casting, so I don't know if this is the best setup for you, but you know, maybe it is, who knows. But you'll notice right there you go. Now let's say that you had, well, what's also nice is you can use negative volumes to as well join one item to another item with no need for glue. A lot of times you see a lot of people, they have these items where they need like a whole bunch of supports and they can really like turn down their support time. But then also if you have a big item, like I had this big item where I completely glueless, but I took one item and I made screwed from one item to another and they just screwed into each other. And like, okay, so I'll show you that real quick. It's not hard. So 3D, so let's go to Shape Gallery. Let's add a box. Like let's say I wanted to screw a box. Oh wait, let's say I had this bunny and I want to screw, well, okay. Trying to think of the best way to do it. good example. Let's see. Let's say, okay, let's just take, okay, let's say I have, okay, so we're gonna add a box to the bed. Like, let's say I'm gonna make this a pseudo-like GPS. Okay. I know, baby girl. 1 second, okay? Let's pretend this is a GPS, okay? Or whatever you want it to be. Okay, but let's pretend this is your hammer, okay? And then you want to attach it to a handle. Okay, let's the guys version. Guys are like, yay! You know, and let's add another box, and let's say, of course you'd probably want to blender this one, but you know, let's copy paste. Let's say you want to make a handle, okay? Okay, and you want to be able to screw one. You know what? This one should have been a cylinder, but you know, for demonstration's sake, I don't feel like. Okay, and you want to screw one item into the other. Okay, so I'm gonna rotate this real quick. Come on, why is nothing? Okay, 90. Okay, so in order to do that, it's really easy again. So we're going to import. Let's import. This is from something else. I also do CNC lasering. Not CNC, well, wood burning. Okay, so if I wanted to, let's say, make it so that I could screw this piece of wood or, you know, this plastic axe hammer into this other part. I mean, this would be like, you know, anything that you can download off of Thingiverse. You know, you have one part, and like, let's say you like one handle off of one item and you like another item off of another STL, you could cut the two items and then you could attach them this way. You just have to make sure that you line them up correctly. If you don't, you're gonna have a really weird alignment, okay? So first let's cut this, okay? You're gonna have to cut it, and you're gonna want to get and sometimes it's better to go to get an exact, you'll want to go and you'll want to do the Z, but you know, for time's sake, let's not do that because it just depends on how nitpicky you want to be. Okay, so you're going to want to create an extra one of the gripper part. And what I recommend as well, just depending on how tight of a fit you want, is you could take this part right here and stretch it out a little bit. Then you won't need so much of supports later on, okay? Because if you don't, then you're going to need more supports for the overhangs, okay? So I stretched it out first, okay? Now, let's copy this. You'll need an extra piece of that, okay? Now, you're going to want Control Z, because I accidentally stretched it up. They need to be the exact same item, okay? So, now I'm going to take this one and merge it with this one, okay? It'll make sense in a second. Now, actually, don't have to do that, do I? No, I don't have to do that. But, actually, you know what? I have an idea. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to make this my handle, okay? Because this might be prettier. I has an idea. So let's make this part. We're going to make this long. I'm going to scale it. Okay. Now, let's put everything to 0.
12:30 p.m.
I know. So let's make this to this. Okay. And we're going to zero everything out so that everything lines up correctly. Okay. Now keep in mind that when you have circular items, you're going to want to probably do the same thing with the infill. You'll want to probably get a cylinder or a torus, and you'll want to make the infill a little bit stronger. Otherwise, you're going to have a little bit of a problem right here. So I would add a torus to the bottom of this. Like, take a torus, cut it maybe in half, and then I would definitely add like the infill a little bit to that, okay? But so, and I would cut, and before I merge this, I would cut, but just for argument, just for quickness sake, otherwise this video is going to be too long, I would cut it again so that this top would be perfectly flat, okay? Or what you could do is if you want to cut it without having to take everything out, you can just lift up the item, cut the whole item. Okay, keep the lower part. I don't need the upper part right now, okay? So let's cut again, let's do it perfectly, okay? Okay. Now, let's take that other part and pull it back up. Or down, whichever, depending on the one you grab. Okay, so now you have that. Now, what I do recommend is that you keep these two items, don't merge them, but just keep them together, okay? Because you can get alignment problems and it can be wonky. If your item was a box and not circular like this, you could have an alignment problem where it, like, you know, it's lopsided, okay? So then what you would do is right here, okay? Now this one, you're going to merge this other part that's right here to this one, okay? So control here, and you're going to merge it, okay? And you're going to make this little bolt here a negative volume. Change type, a negative volume, okay? Now you're going to want to rotate it 90 degrees, okay? Remember, this one would be going 90 degrees too. It helps if you move it closer so you can also visualize it like that. Now, let's move it up, okay? So Z, you're gonna wanna, you know, okay? And box. Let's make these things zero out as much as possible so that you have a little bit of a, and then we can always bring it out a little bit again, but so you're going to want to bring it out so where it just, you can barely just see it because you want it as flush as possible, okay? Now, slice now. So you will notice now you can fit that one inside the other. Now what I also recommend is that you might have to take one and bring up or down the size, scale it by just a little bit. Sometimes it's by 0.1% difference. Otherwise, sometimes it's a little bit too tight of a fit, but you'll scale it and then it'll be perfect. And then you can screw one into the other and it's really nice. And it makes life much easier when one part screws into another. And then, but when you do, when you do lengthen the screw like this, you don't get the tightness will also make a difference on like if you do scale it, it might not be as tight of a fit, so you have to be careful on how much you scale it. And also when you do stretch it out to avoid the supports, it's not gonna, you know, it's more likely to unscrew itself. So just keep that in mind as you learn this craft. And just so you can see, I'm going to take this item real quickly. I'm going to cut it so you can just see what it looks like. I'm just going to keep the lower part perform cut and slice now. And see, there you go. Negative volumes. And on my normal settings, if I were to do this on my single, discard. How long would that have taken? This would have been a 2-hour print, so not too bad. But that's a 0.8 nozzle. I have a Revo 6, or not Revo 6, sorry, I have a Revo quick change, so I'm constantly changing my nozzle sizes, so, and print colors, so there you go. Hope this helps somebody and hope this actually records right. Thanks. Well, if anybody has any questions, let me know. Bye.